Hi, welcome you all to this special class on Unacademy YouTube platform. Today, as part of this special class, we'll be looking at important government schemes from our prelims examination point of view. Before starting our class, as usual, let us look at the important courses offered on an academy platform. You can see it on the screen here. Crack UPSC CSE GS with India's largest learning platform. You can take a plus subscription and access unlimited live and recorded courses from India's best educators. And who are those best educators? Again, you can see it on the screen. All top educators from India. You can see it here on the screen here. All of them are there. And today it is current events, and the subtopic is government schemes. This is not required, I think, and this is Telegram channel and everything. And an academic goal, you can take this subscription before I think the date has passed. This is also has passed, right? This is also over, I think. An academy light, wherein you can take a test series. Yes, good morning. This is what an academy light is all about. And then you have the last mile UPSC interview program, wherein you will attend the interview and you will take the guidance for interview from an academy experts. Right now it is going on also. Last year more than 170 people have got selected through this program. So iconic subscription. This is what we say, iconic subscription, wherein we are talking about getting a live mentorship as well as a study planner, means question answer session, open house with educators, so on and so forth. These are all the advantages with the iconic subscription. Yes, good morning to all of you. You don't have to worry about the finances because you can get started with the 0% EMI also. Nothing can stop you from chasing your dreams. Loan will be approved in 2 hours time. There will be minimal paperwork and flexible tenures also. Right? So these are all the courses that are offered on Unacademy platform. Let us proceed with what we are discussing. Important government schemes. If you remember, we have done up to STARS project, I think, right? The Spark also we have seen. Let us proceed with the other programs. Let us look at other programs. We have done up to STARS. Next important scheme of the Government of India for education is Spark, Scheme for Promotion of Academic Research and Collaboration, SPARC. That is what we say. We can see Spark in that person. That is the reason why it was named as Spark. Scheme for Promotion of Academic Research and Collaboration. It is the initiative of the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Right now, we have renamed it as a Ministry of Education. It aims at improving the research ecosystem of India's higher education institution by facilitating academic research and also ensuring a collaboration between Indian institutions and the institutions in the West other countries around the world. So, as we know, why these kind of schemes are important, why they are important, why? Because as we can see, as we studied with economic survey also, what it has been found is that research in India is very less. The patents, as economic survey pointed out also, the number of patents that India applies for, India gets, the whole of the country, 1.4 billion people, is less than the number of patents that a small in a private sector firm in America has, clearly showing that we need to spend a lot of money on research. In fact, when I look at the budget, this year's budget also, one of the 7 important thrust areas the budget talks about is this research also, right? So, this scheme was announced by the Government of India on in August 2018, and the government has only given 418 crores. That is the kind of importance we give to research. The basic problem here is that the government comes up with high-sounding words, but as we say, at the end of the day, everything lies everything lies only in what we call commitment in terms of finances. Unfortunately, here, the government has not shown its commitment. Only 418 crores, that to be spent, for over a period of 2 years. That is where the problem is. Even in this year's budget, also the government has not announced any amount of allocation for research and development. Right. So this Sparks program at least has started an initiative on the on the part of the government. Under this scheme, Spark scheme, we have what we call research ecosystem, to develop research ecosystem by ensuring collaboration between Indian institutions and the best institutions in the world from 28 select countries in the world. 600 joint research proposals will be awarded for 2 years to facilitate research between Indian and the best faculties in the world. That is what it says. What are the thrust areas of research? Our first one is fundamental research, emergent areas of impact, convergence, action-oriented research, innovation-driven. These are mostly part of research which is not required for us. And then the next important thing is here is IPRs. Next important thing here is IPRs. So what are we saying here? Under this system, the IPRs developed out of project will be decided as per the norms of the participating institutions, because it will be a collaboration between Indian institutions and foreign institutions. So, the Indian institute will get the benefits of patents or royalty than the foreign institute or individual faculty. All dispute will have to be settled within Indian jurisdiction also. And any special deviation will be resolved by Ministry of Human Resource Development. So the most important thing here is that the research will be done by Indian and foreign institutions jointly, but it is only the Indian institution will have the IPRs and will have the royalty also. Next, proceeding further, let us look at other important schemes of the government. Proceeding further, let us look at other important schemes of the government. Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. Please remember, as I said, what we are looking at is that schemes related to education, health, agriculture, rural development, urban development, women, and other weaker sections of society. That is what we will be looking at as part of our discussions. We have seen the schemes related to education. Let us move forward and look at the schemes related to women. The first scheme, as you can see it on your screen here, is Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. This is a maternity benefit program that will be implemented in all the districts of the country as part of National Food Security Act 2013. What are the objectives of the scheme? What are the objectives of this scheme? Provide partial compensation for the wage loss in terms of cash incentives, so that women can take adequate rest before and after delivery of the first living child. In India, as we know, we have huge amount of informal labor. In the formal sector, we have this situation wherein the maternity benefits are given, the leave is also given. But in the informal sector, where huge amount of labor is engaged, especially female labor, what we have witnessed is also what we call feminization of agriculture also in recent times, wherein due to the male members of the family going to other states for employment, for jobs. Women are forced to go to the fields and work as there as laborers. That is what we call feminization of agriculture also is taking place. Because of this, what is happening is that these women are not getting any kind of compensation for the loss of jobs during the maternity period, and that is the reason why this program was launched. And the cash incentives will be provided. It would lead to improved health-seeking behavior amongst pregnant women. And who are those beneficiaries? In all pregnant women, lactating mothers, excluding PL, PW, and LM, who are in regular employment with the central government or state government. That means this scheme is only for those who are not employed either in the central government or state government or in the PSUs or who have similar benefits in the private firms. And then this is what the scheme. What is the benefits they will be getting? What are the benefits? They will be given cash incentives of 5,000 rupees in 3 installments. First installment 1,000 rupees will be given at the stage of early registration of pregnancy at the Anganwadi center. Second installment 2,000 rupees after 6 months of pregnancy, and third installment 2,000 rupees after the childbirth. And they will be receiving incentives under this Janani Suraksha Yojana. Please remember, Janani Suraksha Yojana was also asked in our prelims. And this Janani Suraksha Yojana for institutional delivery. And the incentives received under Janani Suraksha Yojana, so that a woman will get at least 6,000 rupees as part of this scheme, minimum 6,000 rupees. This is what the scheme. Next one is again very important scheme that we are looking at here. This is related to employment. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. It is approved for 4 years between 2016 and 2020 to benefit around 10 million young people, and the budget allocated was 12,000 crores. It is a scheme of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. It is implemented by the National Skill Development Corporation. The objective is to provide the young people with industry relevant skills so that they would be able to get a better job. This is what we said, if you remember, while discussing about unemployment. We said that we have not been able to transform our demographic bulge into demographic dividend. These are some of the schemes, some of the schemes which are helpful in transforming this demographic bulge into demographic dividend. And this is what the scheme is all about. It talks about the fact that these young people are given training in industry related skills so that they would be able to get productive employment in those industries. Right? Around 10 million people will be trained as part of this scheme. And the training and assessment fee are completely paid by the government only. And this would be based on National Skill Qualification Framework and industry-led standards. Who are the beneficiaries of this scheme? Unemployed youth, college school dropouts, who have a verifiable identity proof, Aadhaar, voter ID or bank account. They are the beneficiaries. Then this scheme was extended, to 2020 and 2021 also, as part of Skill India mission. And as part of this, for the year 2020-21, for the year 2020-21, it envisages training of 8 lakh candidates over training of 8 lakh candidates over a period of 1 year. 729 this PMKKs will be there, and they will be providing a training to these unemployed youth, right? And this could not be implemented properly, as you can see, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? That is what we say here. Next important scheme of the government, next important scheme of the government is what we call in Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. It is also called Sampada. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. Please remember, if I am not wrong, this was asked in our mains also, Indian economy, agriculture. It is a central sector scheme. What do you mean by central sector scheme? It will be 100% funded by the central government. It is popularly known as Sampada. In most of the languages, Sampada means wealth. As I keep on saying, our government is obsessed with acronyms. Since they have named it Sampada, they have to come out with an acronym. That is the reason why they called it as Scheme for Agro-Marine Processing and Development of Agro-Processing Clusters. SAMPADA. I think it will be extremely difficult for you to remember, the whole acronym also. Scheme for Agro-Marine Processing, SAMP, and Development of Agro-Processing Clusters. Right? It was approved by the Union Cabinet in 2017 for the period of 2016 to 20. Co-terminus with the 14th Finance Commission cycle. Now it has been renamed as Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, PMKSY. So what is this scheme is all about? Please remember, it was asked as part of the processing industry in your Indian economy general studies papers for 15 marks in your Indian economy. Right? That is the reason why when you read all of them, if they are not asked in your prelims, definitely they can be asked in your mains also. They are very, very important. People have this misconception that if they are not asked in prelims, it means that their entire effort is wasted. Not at all, because in the main examination also they keep on asking these things. So, what is this scheme? It is an umbrella scheme incorporating ongoing schemes of the ministry. It will integrate all the schemes of the ministry. What are the schemes of the ministry? Mega food parks, integrated cold chains, value addition infrastructure, food safety and quality assurance infrastructure, and also agro processing clusters, creation of backward and forward linkages, creation and expansion of food processing and preservation capacities. As we know that this food processing industry is what we call the sunrise industry. Huge amount of potential is there in terms of employment, in terms of increasing the incomes also. This is one of those schemes that can help realize the goals of the government, that is doubling farmers' income in 5 years. Why? Because this food processing industry is where a huge amount of, definitely as the name itself indicates, sampada is there. The only thing is that we must ensure what is called backward and forward linkages. For example, the mangoes which are produced produced in agricultural fields should be converted into mango juice. A raw mango cost will be around 10 rupees or 20 rupees. Mango juice, if it is bottled, it will be 60 rupees. So that is how you add value to the products. And that is what the objective of this scheme. But to realize all these objectives, you need to have what is called forward and backward linkages. For example, most of the food processing products from India are not accepted in Western countries because of sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Instead of blaming those countries, what we have to do is that we have to improve our own standards, and that is what in a food safety and quality assurance infrastructure we have to develop, because we don't give that much importance to these things. And that is the reason why this scheme is all about. The objective of this scheme, PM Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, is to supplement agriculture, modernize processing and decrease agricultural waste, so that we can meet the global standards also. As part of the schemes, we have mega food parks. It is said that the government is planning to set up mega food parks in almost each and every district of the country. Right? Then we have integrated cold chain and value addition and preservation for infrastructure. For example, almost 90% of tomatoes that are produced in the country do not reach in the markets because we don't have what we call these cold storage facilities. That is the reason why this scheme focuses on what we call cold storage for integrated cold chain and value addition preservation infrastructure. And then, of course, creation and expansion of the processing industry. We must ensure this forward linkages also. Infrastructure for agro-processing clusters. And then food safety and quality assurance, human resources administrations. It has an initial allocation of 6,000 crores and to leverage an investment of 31,400 crores. Handling 334 lakh million tons of agro produce valuing 1 lakh more than 1 lakh crores. It will benefit 20 lakh farmers and it will generate at least 5 lakh employment by 2019-20. It will result in what will the impact of this scheme? It will result in creation of modern infrastructure with efficient supply chain management from farm gate to retail output. That is what we say, from farm to fork. From farm to fork. This is the objective. You have to create what we call linkages, both backward and forward linkages from farm to fork. That is the objective. And as I have mentioned here also, it will be giving a big boost to food processing sector in India. As you keep on saying, it will benefit farmers first, provide employment to people, mostly what we call unskilled labor also, which we have abundance in supply. It will also give a boost to the industrial sector. It will ensure agriculture industry interlinkage, and it will also improve our exports also. Everywhere it will also give us revenue in foreign exchange also. These are all the benefits of this scheme, right? It will also help, as I mentioned also, to provide better remunerative prices to farmers and also in doubling their income. It will create huge employment opportunities, especially in the rural areas. Most importantly, as I said, 90% of our tomatoes do not reach the market. It can help in reducing this agricultural wastage also. It will also help in reducing our agricultural wastage also. So this is what the importance of the scheme, right? And more importantly, it will also ensure that we maintain global standards as far as safety norms are concerned, and we can also export this processed food, right? This is the important scheme, Sampada, Pradhan Mantri PMK Kisan Sampada Yojana. Very important scheme. As I said, it was asked for 15 marks also in our Indian economy general studies papers. Next important scheme that we are looking at is Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Right? Our government has a fascination for Shuddha Hindi language when it comes to naming the schemes. Right? What happens if people from non-Hindi background reach all these schemes? Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. I am sure 99.99% of the people in South India cannot understand what is the meaning of Fasal. Right? But that is how the governments work. The last thing you can expect from the government is common sense. So anyway, let us come back and look at this scheme, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. It is an elaborated component of soil health management project as part of National Mission of Sustainable Agriculture. As I said, we have discussed, if you remember, in the morning class, 8 o'clock special class when I took the class, we have come out with this so many missions to achieve the goals in sustainable development goals. 17 of them are there. One of them is a national mission of sustainable agriculture. As part of this national mission of sustainable agriculture, the government of India has launched this scheme, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. And what is the objective of this scheme? Very simple. The objective of this scheme is to promote, what we call, the objective of the scheme is to promote sustainable agriculture. To promote sustainable agriculture. That is what the objective of this scheme. Basically, how to promote sustainable agriculture? Through what we call organic farming. Promoting organic farming. How commercializing this organic farming? At this point of time, zero budget natural farming was what the government of India had spoken about some time back in the budget, but it was never implemented at the ground level. And then now, as part of this scheme, the government wants to promote organic farming in a commercial manner. Please remember here, I'll give you one more example here at this point of time. In Sri Lanka also, the Sri Lankan government has aggressively promoted organic farming. And what was the consequence? The consequence was that their agricultural output had declined drastically. Their agricultural output had come down drastically. That is the reason why the government has to implement these projects on a pilot basis first, and then can be extended to the rest of the country. Right? As part of this program, what the government is doing is that the output in the agriculture will be pesticide residue free, and it will also help in contributing to the health of the consumers also. It will help in raising farmers' income and also create a potential market for traders. This is another objective of the scheme, and it will also motivate the farmers to mobilize resources, natural resources for input production, rather than depending on artificial inducements, rather than depending on these pesticides and chemicals and other things to increase their productivity. Farmers now will be depending more on natural resources, natural fertilizers to improve their productivity. That is the objective of this scheme. How the program will be implemented? How it will be implemented? Groups of farmers would be motivated to take up organic farming under this Yojana, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. The government would identify a group of farmers and they will be motivated to take this. How it is done? 50 or more farmers will form a cluster, and at least they have 50 acres of land to take up organic farming under this scheme. 50 farmers will come together and they will have around 50 acres of land, and this is organic farming will be implemented as part of the scheme. And the objective is that in a period of 3 years, the government would be able to form 10,000 clusters like this, covering 5 lakh acres of land under this organic farming. The farmers will not have any liability for expenditure. Why? Because each farmer will be given 20,000 rupees per acre in 3 years for a seed to harvesting of crops, to transporting the produce to the markets. It will be financed by the government only. Basically, the objective is to promote this organic farming among the farmers. The basic objective is to promote organic farming among the farmers. That is the reason why the government will be implementing this scheme on a pilot basis, wherein the government would encourage a group of 50 farmers to come together and collect around 50 acres of land and then implement this scheme. And this organic farming will be promoted using traditional resources and the products will be linked to the market. It will increase domestic production and also incentivize the farmers to produce more, to go into more organic farming also. This is what we say the objective of the scheme. This is the objective of the scheme. Then proceeding further, what are the other schemes that we have to talk about? What are the other schemes that we have to talk about? Right? Next important scheme that we are talking about is a National Livestock Mission. Please remember, all of them were asked in your main examination. If not in prelims, all of them were asked in our main examination also. In fact, National Livestock Mission, I remember, was asked in your prelims also. National Livestock Mission. It was also asked in the prelims also. So, what is this mission? It was launched in 2014-15 to ensure quantitative and qualitative improvement in livestock production systems and capacity building of all stakeholders. Right? National Livestock Mission, it was launched in 2014-15. The first one is it was launched in 2014-15. Second point that we have to remember here is to ensure quantitative and qualitative improvement in the livestock production. It was implemented as a sub-scheme of White Revolution. As part of this Rashtriya Pashudhan Vikas Yojana. Rashtriya Pashudhan Vikas Yojana. Pashudhan means these livestock are the wealth of the farmers. It is implemented as part of Rashtriya Pashudhan Vikas Yojana. Right? Rashtriya Pashudhan Vikas Yojana. Since April 2019. What are the objectives? Sustainable growth and development of livestock sector and including poultry. Sustainable development of livestock sector, because you can see nowadays there are so many diseases that are spreading. That is the reason why you need a healthy growth of this livestock sector also. Next, to ensure increased availability of fodder and feed to substantially reduce the demand and supply gap. The government is expected to ensure substantial supply of feed, a substantial supply of fodder to reduce the demand and supply gap by bringing more area under coverage for fodder seeds, technology promotion, extension, post-harvest management, and processing in consonance with the agroclimatic conditions. Basically, as usual, as part of this scheme, we are talking about mostly backward linkages. You must ensure proper fodder, and you have to have quality fodder seeds, post-harvest management, and then it must take into consideration diverse agroclimatic conditions also. This will be done with active involvement of farmers in collaboration with farmer cooperatives, seed corporations, and private sector enterprises also. Everyone will be involved. You have the farmers, then dairy cooperatives, seed corporations, and private sector enterprise, because all of them are the stakeholders in this scheme. At the end of the day, all of them are the stakeholders. Then, what are the other important features of this scheme? Establishing convergence and synergy among ongoing plan programs and stakeholders for sustainable livestock development. You have so many programs, ensuring convergence between those programs, and then using applied research to improve animal nutrition and livestock production, promoting research to improve what we call nutrition and livestock production also. That is what NLM, National Livestock Mission. It also talks about, please remember, I just said, if I am not wrong, it was asked for 15 marks in our Indian economy also. That is where all these points will become very important for you. Promoting skill-based training and also reducing the cost of production to improve the output of livestock sector. Then encouraging farmers, cooperatives, and other stakeholders to be part of this scheme, promoting innovative pilot projects and providing infrastructure to improve the output. And another important feature of this scheme is to control and prevent animal diseases and also to reduce environmental pollution, promoting efforts towards food safety and quality and supply of quality seeds. Right? That is what the objective of this scheme. And of course, encouraging community participation. Right? These are all some of the important features of this scheme. Then proceeding further, let us look at next important scheme. Again, this is very important. If I am not wrong, this was also asked in our prelims. If I am not wrong, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. What is this scheme about? That is what I am saying. How can people from a non-Hindi background understand all these Shuddha Hindi terms? Right? It gives advantage to those who are from Hindi background. That is where the government will never understand the diversity of the country. Out of 140 million hectares of the land that is under cultivation in India at this point of time, only about 65 million hectares is covered under irrigation. Only 45%. This year's economic survey talks about it as 49%. So around 45 to 49% of our land is irrigated. Rest of the land depend on monsoon for their survival. It becomes a high risk and less productive profession. If you are depending on the monsoon, is it possible for you? If you are depending on the monsoon, is it possible for you to have a proper estimate about your costs and revenues, to have a proper estimate about your profits? Obviously not at all. That is the reason why nobody wants to insure agriculture sector also. And when farmers have access to irrigation, it has shown that they are willing to invest more in technology and more in inputs to improve their output also. So both of them are interlinked here. Their ability to increase their income depends on their ability to invest in agriculture sector. Their ability to invest in agriculture depends on whether their land has access to irrigation or not. That is the reason why irrigation becomes very, very important here. That is the reason why this scheme was launched, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, to ensure that protective irrigation to all agricultural farms in the country to produce per drop more crop. Per drop more crop. As I have mentioned earlier also while discussing about agriculture sector, we have said that among all the BRICS countries, India is the only country in the world among the BRICS countries. Why are we taking BRICS countries? Because they are all what we call them developing countries. Among all these BRICS countries, India is the only country in the world which uses more water per 1 hectare of land, because we have mostly what is called flood irrigation only. On top of it, we give lot of subsidies for agriculture sector. So what are the objectives of this PMKSY, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana? Achieve convergence of investments in irrigation at the field level. Convergence of investments in irrigation. This is very important. Convergence of investments in irrigation at the field level. Because the state government will be investing, central government will be providing funds, then private sector also will be part of this irrigation networks. What you have to do is that you have to achieve this convergence of investments at the field level, at the district level. If the district is very large, at the division level also, sub-district level also. That is what the objective of this scheme. Then it will also enhance the physical access of water on the farm and expand the cultivable area under assured irrigation. हर खेत को पानी. That means every agricultural land must have access to water. It also ensures integration of water sources, distribution and its efficient use to make best use of water through appropriate technologies and practices. Watershed development also. As I said in our previous class, in the morning class also, this is what I have said. What we have said is that if you take India and Israel, India uses only 7 or 8% of our rainwater, whereas Israel uses 150% of its rainwater. We must ensure what we call optimum utilization of this water, and that is why this scheme was also launched, to ensure optimum utilization of water resources. And the objective of the scheme is to form water use efficiency to reduce wastage and increase availability of water, both the duration and extent of water. Basically, the scheme is all about optimum utilization of water resources. That is what we say. And then another important objective of the scheme is enhance the adoption of what is called precision irrigation. As I said, we have in our agriculture sector mostly now what we have is only flood irrigation, and what the objective here is precision irrigation and other water saving technologies, micro irrigation techniques, more crop per drop. That is what the objective. And then enhance recharge of aquifers and introduce sustainable water conservation practices. In Telangana state, they had this mission Bhagirath, wherein they would repair these water bodies, get rid of the waste, solid waste that is there in the water bodies, ensure free flow of water, and ensure better utilization of water also. And then ensure integrated development of rain-fed areas using the watershed approach towards soil and water conservation, regeneration of groundwater, arresting runoff, providing livelihood options and other activities. This is the objective of this scheme. It will also promote water harvesting techniques, water management and crop alignment at grass level. And another important objective of this scheme is that it wants to attract more. It wants to attract more private investment in the agriculture sector, because it is not possible for the government to invest. How the scheme is implemented, very important. How the scheme will be implemented. It was implemented over a period of 5 years between 2016, 2015 and 2020. 50,000 crores of rupees will be spent, have been spent to achieve convergence of investment in irrigation at the field level. It has amalgamated to implement this scheme. It is implemented as an area development approach, adopting decentralized state level planning and execution also. And that means the state governments are given the freedom to draw their own plans depending on the conditions that are there at the local level. It will be implemented over a period of 5 to 7 years. State governments can take up the projects and it will be financed. All states and union territories, including North Asian states, are covered under this scheme. And Prime Minister will be heading the National Steering Committee of PMKSY and will provide policy direction to program framework, and the National Executive Committee will be there. And what are the other programs? As I have said, Accelerated Irrigation Benefits Program, PMKSY, Har Khet Ko Pani, PMKSY, Per Drop More Crop, and PMKSY, Watershed Development. These are all some of the schemes that are implemented as part of this program, one of the flagship schemes of the government. Next, proceeding further, what are the other schemes that we are talking about here? What are the other schemes that we are talking about? Next scheme that we are talking about here is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana, another important scheme. As I keep on saying, some of them are extremely boring, but you cannot help it because you know, UPSC preparation sometimes can be very monotonous and boring also. This is where you need to have patience and remember all of them. You need to have patience and remember all of them. You don't have any option also here. You have to mug up all of them. Next important scheme is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana. It was launched in 2019 to provide social security to small and marginal farmers in their old age. If you look at it, if you take the total farming community in the country, almost 89 to 90% of them are what we call them as small and marginal farmers whose land holdings are less than 2 acres of land also. In that small land holdings, what can they produce? Can they have any kind of security towards their future? Will they have any kind of comfortable lifestyle? Obviously, very difficult. That is the reason why the government of India has launched this scheme, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana, to provide respectable life to these farmers in their old age, wherein they will not have any savings left with themselves, nor do they have any livelihood also. That is the reason why this scheme was launched. Who will benefit? Under this scheme, a minimum fixed pension of 3,000 rupees will be provided to small and marginal farmers, subject to certain exclusion criteria. Once they attain the age of 60 years, they will be getting a pension of 3,000 rupees per month. Right? It is a voluntary and contributory pension scheme. The eligible farmers, they are required to contribute to a pension fund between 55 rupees and 200 rupees per month, depending on their entry age. If you are entering into the scheme at a very young age, then you have to pay only 55 rupees per month. And then if you are entering at a later age, then you will have to pay 200 rupees per month. At the age of after you reach the age of 60, you will be getting a pension of 3,000 rupees per month, so that you can lead a respectable life. If you are contributing 200 rupees, the central government will also contribute 200 rupees to this pension fund. Equally will be contributed central government. And who are eligible for this scheme? Small and marginal farmers. As I said, a farmer who was a cultivable land up to 2 hectares, up to 2 hectares. And then, what is the age limit? This scheme is for those farmers between 18 and 40 years. It is for those farmers who are between 18 and 40 years. And who are not eligible for this scheme. That is also very important. Who are not eligible. It says that the following categories have been excluded. Those who are getting pension in another social security schemes like National Pension Scheme or Employees State Insurance Corporation Scheme, Employees Fund Organization Scheme. That means who do not have access to any other pension schemes. Those farmers who do not have access to any other pension schemes are eligible for this scheme. And those farmers who have opted for Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan Yojana, they are also not eligible. And those who have opted for Pradhan Mantri Lakhu Vyapari Man Dhan Yojana. They are also not eligible for this scheme. That means this scheme is for those farmers who are not covered by any other schemes. That is what we say. Who are not covered by any other schemes. Next important program or scheme that we talk about is Agricultural Infrastructure Fund. This was launched very recently as part of this Atmanirbhar Bharat project. This was launched by the government. Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. What is this Agriculture Infrastructure Fund? Let us try to look at this one. Union Cabinet in July 2020 has approved a new pan-Indian central sector scheme. It is a central sector scheme. First of all, it is a central sector scheme. That means 100% funded by the government. What is the objective of this scheme? It will provide a medium and long-term debt financing facility for investment in agriculture sector. Medium and long-term debt financing for a facility. You have Kisan credit card schemes and all of them are there. But what do? They provide only financial assistance for short-term purposes, whereas the objective of this scheme is for long-term purposes, to provide financial assistance for long-term purposes, to invest in agriculture sector. It will be implemented between 2020 and 2032. And how this scheme is implemented? This can be asked in our examination also. How this scheme is implemented? 1 lakh crores will be provided by banks and financial institutions. Not 1 or 2 rupees, 1 lakh crores will be provided by banks and financial institutions as loans to primary agricultural credit societies, marketing cooperative societies, farmer producer organizations, self-help groups, farmers, joint liability groups, multi-purpose cooperative societies, agri-entrepreneurs, startups, aggregation infrastructure providers, and a central or state agency or local body sponsored public-private partnership projects. So many of them will be receiving these loans to improve infrastructure in agriculture sector. So many of them will be there. As I said, they are all food farmer producers organizations, marketing societies, cooperative credit societies, farmers, self-help groups. Even self-help groups are also covered under this project. What are the benefits? All loans under this program will have interest subversion of 3% per annum up to a limit of 2 crores. That means if the market rate of interest is 8% or 9%, you will be getting these loans only at 3% per annum up to 2 crores. And this facility is available for a period of 7 years. 3% is almost nothing when you take the wholesale price index is to be 18%. 3% means it is minus 15% real rate of interest. So the objective here is to promote infrastructure in agriculture sector, right? Infrastructure in the form of storage facilities, warehousing facilities, food processing industries, in the form of transportation facilities, communication facilities. These are all the facilities that needs to be developed in the agriculture sector to improve productivity and output of our agriculture sector. That is the reason why this fund was set up. Right? So these producers, they will be given loans up to 2 crores with 3% rate of interest, and it will be for a maximum period of 7 years. Right? And there will be moratorium for repayment. It can be between 6 to 2 years also. There will be moratorium on repayment of loans between 6 to 2 years also, so that farmers can focus on using that money for productive purposes without worrying about repayment within a short period of time. That is what it says. Right? This is about this scheme, Agricultural Investment Fund. Agricultural Investment Fund. It was started in 2020, and the government is planning to spend around 2 lakh crores of rupees over a period of 10 years, and it will be provided. The loans will be provided to improve infrastructure in agriculture sector for a period of 10 years, and they will be provided minimum 2 crore loans with the interest subvention of 3% per annum. That is what the scheme is all about. Next important scheme, KCC, Kisan Credit Card for Animal Husbandry and Fisheries. Again, a very important scheme. Earlier, these Kisan credit cards were only for small and marginal farmers. Now, the government has extended the same to animal husbandry and fisheries also. Kisan credit cards for animal husbandry and fisheries. The objective is to provide adequate and timely credit support under a single window to the farmers for activities related to animal husbandry and fisheries also. Earlier, as I said, farmers were given loans only for farming related activities. Now, other activities also, like animal husbandry and fisheries. And who are eligible for this scheme? Farmers, dairy and poultry farmers, fisheries, fish farmers, individual or joint borrowers, groups, self-help groups, tenancy farmers who are rearing these dairy animals, sheep, goat, pigs, poultry, birds, rabbit, and other farmers, right? And they have, for example, they must have in a boat or possessed fishing licenses, and have the permission to fish for fishing in sea, fish farming and maricultural activities. All of them are eligible for this scheme. And how much amount of loan will be provided to them? They will be provided loan up to 3 lakh rupees. Right, up to 3 lakh rupees. Under this Kisan Credit Card scheme, they are given loans of 1.6 lakh rupees without any collateral security. Right? But in case of milk dairy farmers who have an agreement with the milk unions and the producers, they are given credit up to 3 lakh rupees without any collateral securities. And they will be given subsidized loans of the 3% rate of interest. Right? So this is what we say about KCC. This interest subvention is available for animal husbandry farmers at 2% per annum, and the 3% in case of a prompt repayment as a prompt repayment incentive. If you are able to repay the loan within the time period, you will be getting 3% more interest subvention also. Basically, the objective is to promote allied activities in agriculture sector, animal husbandry, fisheries, as it says, dairy animals, sheep, goats, pigs, poultry, birds, rabbits. All of them are part of this scheme. Right? This is what about this Kisan credit card for animal husbandry and fisheries. Right? Then I think we have come to the end of our class. It's 10:30. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, tomorrow we will continue with the other schemes of the government. Tomorrow at the same time, we will continue with other schemes of the government. Right? So take care of yourself and best of luck. Tomorrow we will continue with other schemes of the government as part of our YouTube classes. Till then, take care of yourself and best of luck.